to story time with Bo. Trying a different angle this time so that, it ain't vertical. This story, very short, so I'm gonna read 2 stories. Yeah. This one is called The Peasant Wife Who Was So Discontented. And the other one is Removing Day. Might be a little bit harder to read this one because the phone is a little far out. But yeah, let's get reading. There was once a peasant who had a wife, and she was so discontented with everything they had that she complained all the time and grew very cross. When she went out into the farmland and looked at their cows, she thought they were miserable creatures compared to other cows. When she sat with her husband to eat, she thought the food and the plates were wretched, that the kitchen was too small and the fields not large enough. She wanted everything as good as the richest in the parish, you may believe. One Christmas Eve there came walking into the kitchen a woman who looked very peculiar. It was no other than the old witch who had her abode in the high hill over beyond the pasture. The old peasant woman was standing beside the stove cooking Christmas porridge and muttering as usual, of course. But the witch, who was one of the good-natured sort, spoke to the peasant couple and said, "As long as Lisa here," that was the old peasant woman, "you must know, is not satisfied with the way things are, you may wish for 3 things, and you shall have them. But think well for 8 days before you wish for the first, so you may wish wisely." With this, the witch disappeared. Lisa was beside herself with delight, you may know, and pondered all Christmas Eve and Christmas Day over what she should wish for herself. But at night, when she put the potatoes on the supper table, she thought the sausages were not good enough for her, so she said, "If only a body had a fine great sausage." And immediately a great sausage appeared on the platter before her. But this made the old man angry to see her so dissatisfied, so he said, "I wish the sausage were hanging on your nose, I do." At once the sausage was hanging on Lisa's nose, and the old man was not strong enough to pull it off. Now for the first time they remembered that they had already made 2 wishes, and so only had 1 left. But what good would it do the old woman to be ever so rich if she had to go around with a sausage hanging on her nose all her days? So the old man was obliged to wish the sausage off again, and then they were just as rich as they were to start with, as anyone can guess. Man, I really struggle to read sometimes. Now for Removing Day. I hope the phone's picking this up. It always makes me sound so quiet. You remember Ole the watchman in the tower? I have told of 2 visits to him. Now I shall tell about a 3rd, but that is not the last. It is usually at New Year time that I go up to him. Now, on the contrary, it was on Removing Day, for then it is not very pleasant down in the streets of the town. They are so heaped up with sweepings and rubbish of all kinds, not to speak of cast-out bed straw, which one must wade through. I came by just now and saw that in this great collection of rubbish several children were playing. They played at going to bed. It was so inviting for this game, they thought. They snuggled down in the straw and pulled an old ragged piece of wallpaper over them for a coverlet. so lovely, they said. It was too much for me, and so I had to run off up to Ole. Ole? La 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 la. It is removing day, he said. The streets and lanes serve as an ash box, an enormous ash box. A cartload is enough for me. I can get something out of that. And I did get something shortly after Christmas. I came down into the street, which was raw, wet, dirty, and enough to give one a cold. The dustman stopped with his cart, which was full, a kind of sample of the streets of Copenhagen. On a removing day. In the back of the cart was a fir tree, still quite green and with gold tinsel on the branches. It had been used for a Christmas tree and was now thrown out into the street, and the dustman has stuck it up at the back of the heap. It was pleasant to look at, or something to weep over. Yes, one can say either according to how one thinks about it. And I thought about it, and so did one and another of things which lay in the cart, or they might have thought, which is about one and the same. That confused my brain so much. A lady's torn glove lay there. What did they think about it? Shall I tell you? It lay and pointed with the little finger at the fir tree. That tree concerns me, it thought. I have also been at a party where there were chandeliers. My real life was one ball night. A hand clasp, and I split. There my recollection stops. I have nothing more to live for. That is what the glove thought, or could have thought. How silly the fir tree is, said the potsherd? Broken cockery thinks everything foolish. If one is on the dust cart, they said, one should not put on airs and wear tinsel. I know that I have been of use in this world, of more use than a green branch like that. That was also an opinion such as many people may have. But the fir tree looked well. It was a little poetry on the pile of rubbish, and there's plenty of that about in the streets on removing day. The way got heavy and troublesome for me down there, and I became eager to come away up into the tower again and to stay up here. Here I sit and look down with good humor. Sorry, I'm struggling to read too much. I'm really tired right now. I ain't even finished my tea. The good people down there play at changing houses. They drag and toil with their belongings, and the brownie sits in the tub and removes with them. House rubbish, family troubles, sorrows, and afflictions remove from the old to the new dwelling. And so what do they and we get out of the whole? Yes, it is already written down long ago in the good old verse in the newspaper. Think of death's great removing day. It is a serious thought, but I suppose it is not unpleasant for you to hear about it. Death is and remains the most trustworthy official, in spite of his many small occupations. Have you never thought over this? Death is omnibus. Death is the omnibus conductor. he is the passport writer. He puts his name in our character book. And he is the director of the great savings bank of life. Can you understand it? All the deeds of our earthly life, great and small, we put in the savings bank, and when death comes with his removing day, anonymous, and we must go into it and drive to the land of eternity. Then, at the boundary, he gives us our character book as a passport for pocket money on the journey he takes out of the savings bank, one or other of the deeds we have done. The one that most shows our worth, that may be delightful, but may also be terrible. No one has escaped yet from the omnibus drive. They certainly tell about one who was not allowed to go with it. The shoemaker of Jerusalem. He had to run behind. If he had got to leave to come into the omnibus, then he would have escaped being a subject for the poets. Peep just once with your thoughts into the great omnibus of removing day. It is a mixed company. The king and the baker sit side by side. The genius and the idiot, they must set off, without goods or gold, only with their character book and the savings bank pocket money. But which of one the deeds will be brought forward and sent with one? Perhaps a very little one, as small as a pea, but the pea can send out a blossoming plant. The poor outcast who sat on the low stool in the corner and got blows and hard words will perhaps get his worn-out stool with him as a token and a help. The stool becomes a sedan chair to carry him into the land of eternity. It raises itself there to a throne shining like gold and flowering like an arbor. One who this life always went about and tippled pleasure's spicy drink to forget other mischief he had done, gets his wooden keg with him and must drink from it on the omnibus journey. And the drink is pure and clear, so that the thoughts are cleared, all good and noble feelings are awakened. He sees and feels what he did not care to see before, or could not see. And so he has his punishment in himself, the gnawing worm which dies not for ages and ages. If there was written on the glass oblivion, there is written on the keg remembrance. If I read a good book and historical writing, I must always think of the person I read about as coming into death's omnibus at last. I must think about which of his deeds death took out of the savings bank for him, what pocket money he took into the land of eternity. There was once a French king. I have forgotten his name. The names of good things are forgotten sometimes, even by me, but they are sure to come back. It was a king who, in time of famine, became his people's benefactor, and the people raised a monument of snow to him, with this inscription: "Quicker than this melts, you helped." I can imagine that death gave him, in allusion to this moment, a single snowflake which never melted, and that it flew like a white snowbird over his royal head into the land of immortality. There was also Louis the 11th. That is 11, right? I think. Yes, I remember his name. One always remembers bad things well. A trait of him comes often into my mind. I wish that one could say the story was untrue. He ordered his constable to be beheaded. He could do that. I don't know why, but reading it on the right side is hard for me. Whether it was just or unjust, but the constable's innocent children, the one 8 years old, the other 7, he ordered to be stationed at the place of execution and to be sprinkled with their father's blood, then to be taken to the Bastille and put in an iron cage. My table's creaking. I am getting distracted. I am sorry. Where they did not even get a blanket to cover them, and King Louis sent the executioners to them every week and had a tooth pulled from each of them, so that they should not have too good a time. And the eldest said, "My mother would die of sorrow if she knew that my little brother suffered so much. Pull out 2 of my teeth and let him go free." The tears came to the executioner's eyes at that, but the king's will was stronger than the tears, and every week 2 children's teeth were brought to the king on a silver salver. He had demanded them, and he got them. These 2 teeth, I imagine, death took out of the life savings bank for King Louis XI, and gave him them to take with him on his journey into the great land of immortality. They fly like 2 flames of fire before him. They shine, they burn, they pinch him. These innocent children's teeth. Yes, it is a serious journey of the omnibus drive on the great removing day, and when will it come? That is the serious thing about it, that any day, any hour, any minute, one may expect the omnibus. I swear to God, I'm mispronouncing that. Which of our deeds will death take out of the savings bank and give to us? Let me think about it. That removing day is not to be found in the almanac. I've noticed a theme with all of them. I hope that didn't show nothing I don't want it to. I've noticed a theme with all of these stories. There is a lot of death. I need to fix this damn tripod. But yeah, these stories have a lot of death in them. Anyway, sorry for my not being able to read, tired and whatnot, and any mispronunciations, quietness, all the problems I always have with these damn videos. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed. Don't know when the next one will be, because, I can't keep to my word at all, apparently. This table is annoying me. I really hope the audio picked most of the story up. Bye-bye. Deuces.